stress yourself. I mean, things that you just don't even think about, you take for granted. And then you see a guy like Bill Porter, who, with all the challenges he has in his life and has had in his life, is just a winner. I mean, a big time winner. And I think the key is to do the most that you can with what you have. That's God's given you. And he has probably done more with his life than a lot of people that are a lot more blessed than he. And I think that's what makes it so inspirational. He's one of our new heroes, one of my heroes. I tell you that's for sure. So I want to talk to you about field training. Yeah, give Bill a hand. I think he deserves it. And it's really great. Really amazing about field training, because field training is, you guys, or most of you are already in the business. You're starting to recruit people. Nothing's more important than field training. All the things that you're gonna have happen great in your business are gonna come as a result of getting people trained. Because one of the issues with a lot of other businesses, especially direct selling businesses, they just go, here's a kit, go sick them, go talk to them, go get them, to write business up, and no one really ever trains anybody. And I think that even has happened a lot, unfortunately, in PFS. And I believe that if you're going to build a real solid business that will be sustaining over time, you've got to be great at field training. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Duplication, you're the master copy, you're the best right now in your business. You should be the best if you're not the best. If you're the RVP, for example, I'm sure you're the best, or even a regional leader in your base shop. So for you to leave training up to someone else is really a big mistake. You end up shooting yourself in the foot by doing that. One of the things I've heard a lot is, when can I get out of the field? Or people are looking forward to getting out of the field. I think that's really a short-sighted approach to the business. I think you should be thinking about how, instead of when can I get out, how many people can I train so that when I do get out, I will have freedom forever and I'll never have to go back. That's the way I looked at it. So you're the master copy, you're the best. It's the only example. It's the only way to teach people, to keep people the business. One of the things that you really want to do, especially as you start building a bigger base shop, is you always want to have a part and take part in training the best people and making sure your foundation's really solid. It's the best time to build personal relationships. The time that you spend with somebody is really where the relationship starts to be, really to form, and where you lock people in. I remember, like all my key people, I spent so many hours with them, driving to appointments, driving back. Sometimes we didn't close. Sometimes we had a dark house, and lots of times we closed transactions. And I remember coming back and we'd stop for a cup of coffee or something, or stop at the office, and I'd go, maybe we picked up a policy. I'd sit there and I'd say, let me show you how to go through this policy. And I'd sit down and show them how to do everything, and really teach them stuff, and get to know them, and ask them about their family, and ask them about what's really important to them in their life, and where do they want to be 5 years from now and 10 years from now. And, where are the kind of places they want to travel, and where do they want to live? And, what do you want to do for your kids? And, what's really important to your wife or your husband? And how do you see, how important is it to you to get that fulfilled? And I got to know them, and because getting to know people will help you to motivate them. The more you know about somebody, the more you know about what's important to them in their life, then when they're struggling or something, those are things you can always revert to and go back to and point out and say, listen, you told me that it was really important to send your kids to, XYZ school. And how are you going to do that unless you you keep your business going, you make some more money? Or you told me you wanted to live in this part of town and not where you're living right now. How are you ever going to get there unless you stay focused? And I would know about them, and I could motivate them and keep them focused on their goal by knowing about them. And field training is where you get to know people. You can't really get to know people at a meeting on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday night, where you just see them for a few minutes and you just talk to them. You've got to spend time with people, and field training is where you do that. Width is a key to bigness. I talked about that earlier. I don't need to go over that again. Earning up while building a business statement. I think field training, in the beginning, when I was starting the business, I didn't have, a big contract. You start out as a rep and you move on. And by field training is where you allows you to make money to stay in. If you're not field training a bunch of people, then it's hard to make enough money, because it's hard to drum up appointments by yourself. It's easy when you recruit somebody and you go see their warm market. It's much easier to do that. The other thing that I liked about field training, I don't know if I mentioned this in this thing, but the thing that was really important to me, I never liked to set up appointments. I don't know if any of you like setting up appointments, but I never personally liked calling people and trying to set up an appointment. I figured that if I recruited somebody, I could teach them how to set up the appointment. They could set it up. To them, they thought that was the easy part because they didn't have to know anything. They just called somebody and set it up. For me, that was the difficult part. The easy part was sharing the information, and I got them to do the hard part thinking that that was the easy part, and I got to do the easy part, them thinking that was the hard part. And so I never had to set up appointments. So that's how I did the business. That's why I think recruiting is really important, because it's easy to get appointments when you recruit somebody because they do all the work. The hardest part is getting the appointment, right? How many of you would do 20 or 30 or 40 appointments a month if somebody else set them up for you? You would, right? So recruit somebody, and that's how you do it. It's how you recruit your best people, like field training. There's no question about that. You recruit your best people across the kitchen table where you're in their home and you're getting to know them, and you see, I mean, I recruited all the best people I recruited across the kitchen table. That's where I recruited them. And I did that through field training. And the other thing, you can never command respect that you need to lead. Unless you are, I think, a really solid field trainer, people don't respect you. If they haven't seen that you've done that, if they don't know that you've done that, then it's really hard to get people to do that. So it's really important in order to get the respect from your team. How? Here it is. Okay. I keep hitting this thing. It's okay. It's the only way to be an effective teacher. That's another thing too. If you've done a lot of field training, you're going to be a great teacher. If you've not done a lot of field training, you're not going to be as good of a teacher. It's that simple. And teaching is how you duplicate yourself. Your ability to duplicate yourself comes through your ability to teach other people and get people the same level of confidence that you have. If you're good at doing that, you're going to have a bunch of clones running around, which is good. If in fact you do a good job of that. Okay. Focus on massive numbers of appointments. I talked about that early. You have to have a lot of appointments. In the early stages of your career, if you're newer in the business, nothing's more important than you just getting on a ton of appointments. People ask me, what time? Just getting started. What should I do? You know what you should do? You should be on as many appointments as you possibly can get on, because you need to have an experience of all the different kinds of individuals you're going to run across. The more you do that in your training period, the better off you're going to be when you become a trainer also. So new people, experience is a key. So you can see how to deal with it. When you walk in there and the person's like this, sitting across the table from with their arms crossed, you ever have that, right? Knowing how to deal with that. And sometimes you run across people that are really open and, they're so glad to have you. And some people are indifferent, and you get you name it, you get it, right? So the more points you have, the more experiences, the more objections you have, the better off you're going to be when you start really training people. So just experience. The thing that helped me, before I got PFS, I was very fortunate because I was in the jewelry business, and I used to have people come to the store all day long, right? It was a typical day. I might sit, try to close 30, 40, 50 different people a day on a typical day. People would walk through in 8 hours or 10 hours that I worked there. And so I had a lot of experience dealing with a lot of different kinds of people. In that business, we used to close about 10% of the people that walked in the store, which means if I had 50 people come in, I closed 5 transactions, I'd get rejected 45 times in a day. That was a very typical day. Most of you if you get rejected 5 times in a month, you're ready to quit. That was I get 45 rejections a day in my business. And I never, the key is not to take it personal, knowing that the 5 is what pays your income and gets you to where you want to go, to focusing on that. So you need a lot of experience. Master setting appointments. I'll show you how to do that a little later with your warm market, referrals, and having appointments your number one priority. I already talked about that earlier. You control new recruits' activity. So this is important. When you get a new person on board, the thing that drives me nuts, I just got after one of my guys in my base shop yesterday. He calls me up on the voice cell, leaves a message. He's really good about that. And he tells me, hey, listen, I got this guy. He's ready to go. He wants to do the business, and he's going to come to the meeting. He's going to come Saturday to the meeting. I'm going to get with him next Monday. We're going to do his paperwork filled out. And this is like on Monday, right? And I'm like going, what is wrong with you? If they say they're ready to go, you get over to the house that night, you sit down, you get their paperwork filled out, you get their list together, you make calls that night. You don't wait till next Saturday. By next Saturday, they got to talk to 10 different people. They got to talk them out of the business. What's wrong with you? If they're ready to go now, you go see them now. Don't you let 1 minute get past Any water going under the bridge, if you don't get started with that person, as soon as they say, yes, I'm ready, let's sit down, let's do the paperwork, let's get your list together, let's set up some points, let's get going. Your sense of urgency drives the business. If you let it go for a week, you don't want to bring a person to a Tuesday night meeting and then they say, yeah, I'm ready to go. And you say, well, okay, I'll see you Saturday. No, you see them that night. If you can fill out the paperwork, fill out that night, or the next day you get with them in the morning before work, right after work, at lunchtime, at 10 o'clock at night after you finish your appointments. But immediately get going and close the transaction, because recruiting is a sale. It's a transaction. You got to close. You got to get the checks. You got to get all the stuff. You can't let that go on. If somebody said, yeah, I'm ready to go ahead. I want to buy this insurance and this mutual fund. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you come Saturday to the meeting and bring your checkbook and stuff, and we'll do it then. You wouldn't do that. You'd say, okay, go ahead. Here's the paperwork and start filling it out, right? It's the same thing with the recruit. Why would you put it off? It's nuts. I see people doing that all the time. It's just ridiculous. Can you tell I get a little frustrated by that? I mean, the one thing you're trying to do is recruit people. Somebody says yes, and then you put it off for 4 or 5 days. I mean, how dumb is that, Spell out what you'll be doing. When you recruit them, you tell them exactly what they're going to be doing. They're going to be, going on appointments. They're going to have to be there on Tuesday night. They're going to have to be there on Saturday. They're going to, spell out exactly what the whole thing's going to be. Put their list together. You just sit down and put that list together. The most important thing you do right away, along with the paperwork, is get the list. So you have the names. See, the thing that I used to think is, the one thing I already know is I know for sure this now, it's verified, 70% of the people you run across are risk averse. All right? So that means even the ones that they say, yeah, I want to do it, they're risk averse. You got to get the list, because 7 out of 10 of the people are going to bail on you relatively quickly in the business. They're just going to. It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with the opportunity. It has something to do with the way that they perceive that there's risk here, okay? In terms of risking their ego and all kinds of things, okay? So you get the list, because if I sit down with Greg Gunn and I get his list together and he's risk averse and he wants to bail, he doesn't want to really make the calls or something, I've got 25 names. If he doesn't do it, I've got the names. I'm going to contact these people. I'm not going to wait. I spent a lot of time trying to recruit him. The least I'm going to get is 25 names, and people will go see if he decides he's not in. You with it? I don't want him to do that, but if he does, I don't want to waste my time. You with me? So I got that list, and then if he starts to bill and say, and he doesn't want to do anything, I set up 4 or 5 appointments. I call him up. I say, hey, Greg, I just set up 5 appointments. I set an appointment with, Bill, Jim, Mary, Sue, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go see them this and this and that day. I think this is probably going to turn into $10,000. I don't know what it's going to be. If you're still afraid to get going, I'll make all the money. If you're ready to get going, come with me. Right? I mean, so that way I've got that. See, you've got it. The fear of loss generally is more intense than the anticipation of gain for people. Okay. So I would make them feel like they're going to lose something if they don't get going with me. All right. So put the letters together, the letters that you're going to send out to this list. Make the calls. Tell them how they're going to make the calls. As a matter of fact, I didn't make the calls. What I did is I showed them what to say. I'd role play. I'd sit down with Greg and I say, Greg, okay, this is what I want you to say. When you set up the appointment, you call up Jerry and you say, hey, Jerry, this is Greg. How you doing? How's Sherry doing? Blah, blah, blah. Listen, the reason I'm calling, I'm starting a new business. I'm really excited about this company that I'm really, honestly, I'm even thinking about possibly making a career change. Is really an exciting company. Whether you're interested or not, it's really irrelevant right now. All I really want is your opinion. I want you to take a look at it. There may be some value for you. If you see some value for yourself, great. If not, don't worry about it. When can I come by and show you what I'm doing? I need to get trained. That's it. And then he calls him up, and then we go role play that a few times till I feel that he's doing it fairly well. And then I say, okay, give him a call. And I don't do it because if I can't get him to do it, then he's pretty much worthless. Okay. If he doesn't have the guts to make a phone call to his best buddy, then I shoot him now. He's put him out of his misery. If I can't get him to do that, it's a waste of time. So I want to make sure that he knows how to do that. I'm going to teach him, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have him do it because when I'm not there, I want him to be doing that. You see what I'm saying here? If I sit with him, I show him how to do it, and he gets comfortable with it. And we sit through it. Then I can say, okay, and maybe we call 5 or 6 or 7 people that night. I have a copy of the list. I can say, okay, now did you call Jim and Jack and Mary and blah, blah, blah? Well, no, we'll call him. You know what to say. You call him. He knows what to say. Then I hold him accountable to that. See? Then I don't have to be there physically with everybody setting up every appointment. You with me? Okay. Calls, appointments, how to set them up, show them how to do that. And then closing. This is closing the transaction, and then recruiting. What we're going to do here is we're going to recruit these people. See, I said, Greg, the primary thing we're going to do here is you told me you want to be financially independent, right? And you wanted to make big money, you want to get free and all that. The way we're going to do that is through recruiting. We got to build you a team. My number one priority with you is building an organization of 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 people that help you get to RVP so that you can start making 10 and 15 and $20,000 a month. So that's going to be the primary focus. Is we're building this business. We're going to build you a team to get to that point. I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to get you to the point where you're so good at recruiting that you're going to build an awesome team, and you're going to have a business that just perpetuates itself. Okay. So we're going to talk about recruiting. And then C number 1 starts all over again. Okay. The importance of field training to the recruit. Now, I talk about experience like I talked about earlier. I already explained that. You want to talk to the recruit why experience is so important to them, okay? Why they need to go on appointments is because experience is the most critical factor. Listen, I'd say, Greg, listen, you can come to all our Saturday morning trainings and all our Tuesday night op meetings, and you're going to learn a lot there. But it's nothing even remotely as important as being on an appointment, sitting across the table from a family or a couple, and having them throw their objections and questions my way, watching me deal with that. You can even tape it so you can see how I handle every single question. So that way, when you get in that same situation, you know exactly how to deal with it. Because there's no way, so many things come up. If we can go on 10 different appointments, you can see all these different experiences. You can see how I deal with it so that when you get in that position, when you get your license, you're ready to do it, you feel real comfortable. The more we go on, the more comfortable you're going to be, and the more efficient trainer you're going to be, which means you're going to retain people. If you hire somebody and you have a lot of experience and you know what you're doing, and you recruit somebody, you're going to be more competent, which means you're going to get more business done, which means the chances of you retaining the recruits is going to go up pretty exponentially, right? So it's in your best interest to go on a lot of appointments. You with me? Right away. You see how I did that? I made it all about him and about how it's important to him and how he's going to benefit. I didn't say I'm going to make commission, I'm going to get my promotion, I'm going to make a bonus and all that. I didn't say any of that. I said how it's important to him because it's got to be important to them. And what I'm saying is true. It's the truth. Because I want him, see, listen, the thing is, Greg, I want you to go on as many appointments as possible so that the faster we do that, the faster you're independent. You don't need me because, see, I have other appointments going on and you have to work around my schedule. You don't want to work around my schedule. Let's go on as many as we can so that you can get to the point where you can say, Hector, get out of here. I don't need you. You're slowing me down, buddy. And you can go on yourself because you feel confident. But if you only go on 1 or 2 or 3, you're not going to get there. You're just not going to have enough experience to feel comfortable and confident. You need to go on more than that. Okay. See, that's how I got people to do a lot of appointments. Converts theory to reality. That's another big deal. Field training. When you recruit somebody into the business, they're real excited about the opportunity. It looks great. We show them the videos. We show them the numbers and all these examples of successful people, blah, 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 blah. It sounds great. They're excited about the money we save people and the F&A and everything. But until you go on an appointment and they see you take a person out of a cash value policy, put them in a term policy, they show you how you reduce their debt and save them $90,000 in interest over their next 10 or 20 years, and they show you, and you see how you get them invested in a mutual fund, and you sell them a P&C product, and you do all that stuff, and they see it all happen. They see the client giving you checks. That's when it becomes real to them. They go, oh my God, it works. People actually give you checks. People actually do business with you. And everything that was so exciting theoretically becomes real to them. And that's what locks them in the business. That's why it's so important. Do you remember the first time you went on an appointment, you actually you closed business, and people gave you a check and they were excited and happy? How you just went, whoa, man. I mean, that's why I always love closing transactions, because it always resold me one more time on that what I was doing works, and we really make a difference. Recruiting to build their businesses. I talk about that's the whole idea, which I just mentioned. Promotions is we're going to come through recruiting and field training, which is more money. There's more long-term security through that as well. And freedom. Most important, there's freedom. Hey, listen, you want to get to the point where someday you can take time off. I was looking at our schedule this year, and it looks like we're going to, we probably vacation a week a month. Something like that. Right? Somewhere in that range. You may be going, well, shoot, that's a lot. That's too much. No, it's not. It's what you don't want to do, right? Don't you want to be able to take a week off a month and go do something fun? Huh? I mean, don't you want to? You can't have freedom without recruiting and field training people. That came from years of recruiting and field training people. That's what you do. Respect, also, definitely respect. Recognition. You get the recognition. That's where it all comes from beginning that this all done from, field training to recruit and fulfillment. I mean, you get some of the most fulfilling things for me over my career are taking a guy like, George Verdugo. When George Verdugo came into the business, those you don't know him, but George is one of my directs. And I trained George. George started the business. He was about 22 years old, 22 or 23 years of age. He was driving a motorcycle. He didn't own a car. Okay. And to the meetings and all that sort of thing. And I worked with him and taught him. He was terrible in the beginning, and he, just helped him become more professional and all that sort of thing. And he learned how to close. And George is probably going to make, I think George will make somewhere between 5 and 700,000 this year, somewhere in that range. He was managing a health spa on a motorcycle. I mean, that's what he was doing, and it's to see somebody go from that, or Dennis Lang, who started as a mechanic, came to his first meet. He was 21 years old as a mechanic. He had his mechanic boots on and his blue uniform with his dentist name tag, and his hands were all greasy, and he was driving a Volkswagen. He lived with his parents, and, you know, uh, that time he would lots of times it was between having lunch or putting gas in his car, one of those kind of things, and he's done incredible. He made 100,000 his third year in the business, I think. And he's done fabulous. Last year he made two something, and this year probably make 400,000. It's exciting watching that happen. It's really fulfilling. And your legacy comes through that. So here's the results. No, this is not the results. You know what BS stands for, right? It's the truth. The truth is nobody cares about anything else. I mean, like right now, as much as anybody like the Chicago Bulls? Well, any Bulls fans in here, right? How about San Antonio Spurs? More, okay. You're all happy with them right now because they're still in it, right? But if they don't get results in the next series, you're not going to be happy, right? Because see, Americans, all they care about is results. They don't care about anything. If we go to war with another country, we don't care about how pretty our ships and weapons are. We only care that we win, right? And that's the way the world is. It's not a bad thing. It's the way it is. Once you realize that's the way it is, then you need to focus on getting results in a moral, ethical way, right? But you've got to make sure that you don't forget that results are the bottom line and everything else is BS, okay? It's just excuses. And everybody's got one, right? You must be unrelenting on this issue. It's the only way to retain people. If you don't get results, if I hire you and we go on 10 appointments and I don't close anything, what's the chance of you staying in the business? Like none, right? But if I hire you and we go and you take me to see 10 people and we do business with 8 out of 10, we recruit 3 or 4 people, what's the chance of you hanging in the business? Phenomenal. Okay, it increased dramatically. Do you care? What it took me to get to the point where I was able to get results? No. You only care that I did the work in the past to get to the point that when I took you out, I got results. Am I right or wrong? Right. Okay. So then that's the way you've got to look at it. You've got to be focused on getting results. It's the only way to have a real opportunity. If we don't get results, our opportunity is a sham. It's a sham without results. It's not real. Your reputation's at stake. No one cares how hard you tried. It's really true. I talked about that last night. They only care that you got it done. And you're only as good as last month's results, period. And it starts over. Now that for some of you is difficult to deal with, okay? But the fact is, no one cares you don't care that I had a great month in October of 1988. What do you care that I had a great month? You only care what did you do lately? What did you do last month? What did you make last month? That's all anybody cares about. And you got to stay on it. Now, the good news about that is even if you had a terrible month last month, you have a new month to redeem yourself. See, that's the beauty of it too. It goes both ways. And I love that part of it, that you can always start over. And I love the fact that I don't know what I'm going to make from month to month. I always have liked that part. And some of you are uncomfortable with that. But the fact is, if you know what you're going to make, then you're probably making way less than you're worth. Okay. So you don't want that. You want to be in a position where you don't know if you're going to make 8,000 or 18,000. I mean, that's a lot better place to be, honestly, because then everything is dependent on what you're doing, your focus, your energy, and all that sort of thing, your confidence level, and you can keep growing your income, which is really, in my opinion, totally exciting about our business. Work the numbers. Remember the numbers. We know now that 70% of people have a risk averse gene. So we know that you got to contact 10 to get 3 to maybe do anything. You with me? And if you're going to be an RVP, you got to know the numbers. The numbers are you got to recruit 100 to be an RVP. Out of the 100, you're going to have 15 are going to do something and 2 may be RVPs, okay? But you got to get those numbers going. You got to see more people, and you got to get to the point where you don't take the people that don't get involved personally. That's really important. So commitment, you must constantly get commitment from people. If you're sitting down with somebody and they say, it sounds really good, I'm really interested. And then I would say, so what part of it are you not sure about that's preventing you from going ahead and making a commitment? Well, I don't know if I have the time. Well, how much time do you have? Well, I work a lot. Well, what does that mean? Do you work 9 in the morning to 9 at night, or do you work 9 to 5? How does that work? Well, I work 9 to 5. So then you've got from 5 to 10 each night then, right? Well, yeah, but I've got some things going on. I've got church, a Bible study, and I've got a bowling league. So let me ask you, I'm not going to, obviously your Bible study is really critically important, but are you making a fortune in your bowling league right now? No. Well, then if you could move something in there where you could make some money and get financially independent, why would you not do that versus bowl? Why like bowling? Do you like bowling so much that it's going to, that you would keep doing it so that you would have to keep working 40 years at a job? Would you rather give it up for 2 or 3 years, make some extra money, build a business, and then not ever have to work again, and then be able to put a bowling alley in your own home? How would you like to do that? You close them, okay? Get commitment from the people. From a client, always getting commitments. If I could put together this program that does everything I said it's going to do, it's going to help you accomplish your goals and dreams. Can you think of any rational reason why you wouldn't implement the solutions that I put together for you? Get a commitment. If they say, well, I'm not sure, why aren't you sure? Well, I like to see it first. I understand that, but if you see it and it actually does everything I'm saying that it does, can you think of a reason why you wouldn't implement it? Well, I guess not. If it does everything, okay, great. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for a commitment unless it actually does what I tell you it's going to do. Is that fair enough? Yes. Okay. So then we have an agreement that you will go ahead at that point. Yes. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to let them off the hook. I'm going to get a commitment because I'm not coming back if I don't get one. Okay. I don't have time to be wasting with people that aren't serious about their life. If they're not serious about their life, I need to go to the next person. All right. It's a waste of time. I'm not going to do that. From recruits, if I've got a recruit in the business and I hire Charlie and Charlie says, Charlie, I'm going to commit to you. I'm going to put time and effort into you. I'm going to teach you everything I know about the business, which I know is going to help you. If I do that, I need a commitment from you. I need to make sure that you're going to come to every op night and bring new people to that you're going to come to every Saturday training. And we have big events. I expect you to be there. And I expect you to be working and asking questions and working and doing the things that I ask you to do in terms of helping you grow your business. Can I get that commitment from you? If he says yes, then I say, okay, we have a base for going ahead and developing a relationship. He says, well, I'm not sure about Tuesday nights. Well, why not? Well, I like to watch, what's on Tuesday night? Home Improvement. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. When was the last time that Tim Allen wrote you a check? Well, he never has. Well, then why would you keep on giving him your business if he's not doing anything for you, except possibly entertain you? I tell you what, why don't you just tape the show, watch it at 11 o'clock after we're done. All right. And I say, can I get a commitment for you? And I'm always going to get commitments from people. If they're not going to commit to me in getting going, what's the point of me making a commitment? It's a waste of time on my part. I want to make sure that we're on the same wavelength, that we're going in the same direction. Everything you do, must lead to going ahead. So everything about your business, if you're talking to a new person and you're prospecting, you should be leading towards going ahead to giving you an appointment or to getting together with you or giving them their phone number or something. If you're talking with a new recruit, it should be leading towards them saying yes to the opportunity and getting involved in your business. If you're talking to a client, everything you're doing should be geared around getting them to say yes to the proposal you're offering them and you're going to implement for them. Everything's got to be geared. Everything you're doing, every thought process that you're thinking about as you're dealing with somebody should be moving and helping them making a decision to go ahead and get involved in some fashion or form. Okay. Everything all the time. That's what you're in a business to do. Ask questions, lots of questions. Ask people what they want, what's important to them. On an F&A, on opportunity night, let me just put all these. Find out what people want. If you're doing an F&A for somebody, and I'm talking to Jerry and Sherry Ward, I'm going to ask them. Let me ask you a question. What's important about your financial future and about money to you guys? How would you like it to turn out in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? They're going to say, well, what's important to you about that? Well, I want to make sure we're secure. What does that mean to you? Well, we want to have enough money. How much is enough money? 500,000, $1 million, $2 million? What's the number for you? Well, I haven't really thought about that. Well, that's important that we put together a number for you then, right? A financial independence number so we can come to a determination on what that number is. Yeah, I guess it is. Well, that's one of the things I'm going to do for you. If I can do that, if I can in fact do that for you and put that together and then help you to actually accomplish that, can you think of a rational reason why you wouldn't go ahead and implement that solution that I put together for you? Or if it has to do with debt elimination or whatever, but it's always getting commitment to do that. Ask questions. An op night. If I'm talking to Greg Gunn and I'm talking to Greg and I'm saying, Greg, he's after an op night's over, I'm not going to say, so what did you think? And that's not a real cool question to ask at the end of an op night. Okay, that's not what you ask. So what you ask, I say, Greg, which part of the presentation caught your interest the most? And he's going to say, well, I really like that debt part. Why is that? Well, because I've got some debt and I'd like to get rid of it. Great. So if I can help you get rid of that debt through number one, implementing our program, or number two, helping you make more money so we can eliminate it at a much faster rate, can you think of any reason why you wouldn't join me in business and let me help you accomplish that? So I'm closing them again. I'm always asking for a commitment, asking a question, asking for commitment, find out what they want, and I'll do a little more of that in just a second. Values-based selling, that's all it is right there. What's important to you about the future? What's important to you about money? What's important to you about your children's education, about your, retirement and that sort of thing? What's important? Family, education, dreams, all that sort of. Ask questions, because let me just tell you something. If you're talking all the time, if you're the kind of person that likes to give information, you're always going to be shooting yourself in the foot, because you could be giving people information that they could care less about. All right. So it's better to ask them what's important to them about those things. Then you can gear your whole presentation about what's important to them instead of talking about something that's not even remotely important to them. Okay. You might be talking about buying, what you get in the business, you can make a lot of money. You could buy that Mercedes Benz. They could care less about cars and even like cars. They think cars are a waste of time, and they only have them because it's a necessary nuisance to them. And you could be telling them about how important it is that you could buy a Porsche or a Mercedes or something like that, and you're off base, and so you need to find out what's important to them before you start closing them on something. So ask questions, really get good at asking questions. You'll be amazed that people love to talk. When was the last time somebody even asked you your opinion about something and actually listened after they asked you the question, or asked you anything about you and your family, about where you're from, or where what do you do for a living, or you have children, and how old are they, and where do they go to school, and how did you get in the line of work you got into? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? If you could live anywhere you want to live, where would you live? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, questions, because every time I ask you a question, it's going boom, boom, right into the computer bank. So then I know I have all kinds of ammunition to use to help you make a decision to go ahead with me and lead you to where it's going to help you accomplish any of those things that are important to you. I always sell the dream to the new recruit, the end result, the hard work. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Listen, let them know to win, you must be, number one, tough. Obviously, long range thing. I think one of the things that's really important that we miss is that financial success and success period comes after time. It doesn't come in a week or a month. Okay. It comes in 5 and 10 years, okay? It takes time. You need to be thinking about where I'm going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and have everything geared around there. You're not going to be an overnight sensation. It's very rare that's going to happen. You might be lucky and hire the right person. That's not likely that's going to happen. It's going to happen right away. It's going to take time. You're going to have to get better to be able to attract the right kind of people. So you need to really think more long range and have a long range plan. You got to constantly be improving all the time. I can't impress upon you how important making constant self-improvement part of what you do with your life on a very consistent daily basis. You should make a commitment to that you're always reading or listening to a tape or doing something that's helping you grow as a person in your field of expertise, because what that does, it does a couple of things. Number one, it increases your confidence. As you increase your confidence and your competence, actually, when you increase your confidence will grow naturally from that, okay? And you'll have less fear, which means you'll talk to more people. So as you're growing, the other thing is you'll feel more worthy of having success. A lot of times, if you're growing, you're working on stuff, your expectation to succeed starts to grow and you start feeling better about yourself, okay? It's very important. And the other thing, it adds value to the people that are associated with you. If you're always growing, Greg Gunn, the people around you get more value from you. and you help them. You offer them something that can actually be a benefit to them. And being optimistic, it's so important to be optimistic, because the opposite of optimistic is pessimistic, right? And being pessimistic, there's no future in being pessimistic. I mean, the future is guaranteed to us if we do all the right things. And there's no reason. Optimism is so much more fun to be, because on the way to wherever you're going, at least you have a good time with it. If you're pessimistic, you're miserable the whole time, right? On the way there. So it's better to be optimistic. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to die. And then if you die, that's one of the best things that could ever happen to you, right? If you're a believer. So there should be nothing but optimistic. Stop field training soon. This is the biggest mistake I made. I stopped field training too soon. Um, my upline told me, hey, you know what are you field training for, man? If you stayed home, you could probably call 20 or 30 people a night and get so much more done if you're just going out with one or two guys a night. And I said, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And so I was, I love field training. It was never work to me, because I was good at it and I had a lot of success at it, and I liked people and stuff. So it was never, and so I stopped doing it, right? 1991. And what I figured out is that all the people that you would call from 5 to 9 are all the losers, and you don't want to talk to them anyways. Anybody you could talk to that you wanted to talk to, you'd want to call at 10 o'clock at night, because they would be coming in from appointments. So to stay home during the evening is dumb, all right? You should be out field training some new person that has a potential to be an RVP and building a relationship and getting them locked in than being at home. In the building stages, when you're away to being financially independent, for you to not be field training is silly. You should absolutely be doing that. That's what you should be doing. And as you get bigger, you don't have to field train 7 nights a week. You could do Mondays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and maybe some Fridays and Saturday afternoons. And you don't have to do it every single day, but you should be doing it. It cost me a fortune to do it, to quit too soon. I think one of the things that happened to me, when I quit, I was about almost 50 wide in my bay shop, people doing something. And I was doing a lot of business, a couple hundred apps a month. I was making big money. And I wasn't tired or anything. If I had just kept going and got that to 100, I think it cost me about $50 to $100 million over my career, stopping too soon. That's what I've calculated, just on the number of REPs I would have produced and all that stuff. I would have stayed at that's what it cost me to quit. If I'd have stayed in the field maybe 3 years longer, I think I would have made an additional $50 to $100 million in income during my career, because I would have, instead of having 20 first generations, I probably have 40 or 50 right now. And, 20 first generations that do even 20,000 a month is 400,000 a month. 400,000 at 30% is 120,000 a month, not to mention all the things they do. Okay. And all the RVPs they produce. Because it just grows exponentially. Because like, if you want to grow your business, if you want to really think about it, it's like having kids, just like having kids. If you want to have a lot of grandkids, what do you need to do? You got to have a lot of kids, right? Do you have to do anything? You have to teach your kids how to have kids? Do your parents teach you how to have kids? No, I don't think so, right? That's not how it works, okay? So if you have a lot of kids, your kids just automatically have kids, and their kids, you don't even have to talk. They don't even want to talk to you about it. They don't want to go there with you on that thing, right? But the fact is that if you have a lot of kids, you don't have depth takes care of itself completely. Width, you got to take care of. Okay. The same thing in our business. If you get wide, you got to take care of that. The depth, you only have to worry about it. I never once tried to build a hierarchy. I never thought, okay, I'm going to build me a big hierarchy. I just focused on my base, focused on directs, focused on developing people close to me, and then hoping that they would take the things I taught them and go on and do with what they were supposed to do, which is exactly what happened. But a mistake I made was quitting too soon. The other thing too, a lot of people lost out on their best chance to succeed, I believe, because I was the best field trainer. So when I wasn't field training them, their chance to succeed was lessened a little bit. You know what I mean? Think about this. How many would have liked to have been personally field trained by me? Few of you, right? Okay. So a lot of people lost out on that because I'm good at doing that. And so are some of you are really good on that. And so if you're field training more people, they're going to get the best possible chance to succeed if they spend time with you. I lost out on the relationships. The other thing too, the best relationship I built were those relationships out field training people, spending time with them. I built great relationships with those people. My best relationships, because I spent so much time, are with like Gary McCrummon and Rick Susie and George Verdugo and Dennis Lang and, Chris Howard and some of those people that I spent lots and lots of time with. Don't stop field training until you're a complete financial man. If he goes, when should I get out of the field? I believe you should get out when you're done. When you have enough cash set aside that whether you work or not, you can live the lifestyle that you choose to live. That's the time to stop. Okay, and you shouldn't stop until you get there. Whenever that is for you. I mean, everybody's different in that respect, but that's when I would stop. Don't live a life of regret. Do what you need to do, not what you feel like doing. That's a really big deal. It's a big issue because most people, unfortunately, do what they feel like doing, not what they need to do. And as a result, they never live the life that they're dreaming about living because they always make that decision. So I guarantee you'll be glad you did. That's what I did, and that's what made the difference for me. So how much more time do I've got? All day, huh? Okay, well, let me just share with you some things that I think. Who would like to help me up here and let me recruit you? Get a chair up here and somebody? A couple would be even better. Okay, huh? Is there only one chair up here? There's one chair. Well, you don't have to sit. You can stand. You can stand. I can get a couple up here. All right, Charlie and Diane. Wonderful. Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, let me have a chair too. I just want to share. Anybody have a sample FNA that I could bum off you for a second? Bring it up here. Is it a good one? Is it a good one? Okay, man. Hi guys, how you doing? So the thing that I would concentrate on this, let me just point out. I'm going to point out what I'm going to talk about here because this is the things that I always focused on when I was trying to uh recruit somebody. Okay, um, number one is I always wanted to focus on their future. I talked a lot about the future. Okay, that's the first point. Second point is I talked about what a difference we make for people. Because I really hit hard on what a difference we make. That's why I would use the FNA, is what kind of a difference we make for people. Because I think most people, they want to make more money, but they don't want to make money at the expense of somebody else. They want to make money making a difference. Would you agree with that? The majority, the kind of people we want to recruit anyways do that. The other is the industry in the future. I always made a point to talk about the industry in our future in this industry so they could get an idea that this is a great place to be. It's a perfect time, right place, right time. So the industry in the future was real important, industry future. And then I also talked about how people can't say no. And I'll show you how I do that. And because of the nature of what we do for people, if a person has semi intelligent, they can't say no. And also being somebody and is a big issue. I talk a lot about being somebody. That's kind of the close towards the end, and doing something great with your life. Because I think those are the key things that people really are important to people, and I know they're important to me. And if you really get down to it, I think for most people, all those things are critical things that for them. And I didn't spend a lot of time on the company and how great Travelers is and PFS, and I said some stuff about that, but I don't believe that's what recruits people. I don't think people are all that concerned with the company. How many of you did a tremendous amount of research before you went to work with the company you work with right now on that company? One, two, three. Not PFS. The job you had before PFS. How many of you really did a lot of research on the company you went to work for before PFS? One, two, three. Three. Three people. Nobody cares. You just want a job, right? That's all you want. So people don't do a lot of research. So why do you think they care about everything about PFS? They do. It's important to a certain extent, but it's not the most important thing. Believe me, it's way down on the list. So those of you that spend all your time showing the credibility, it's fine to do that, but don't be spending an inordinate amount of time on the credibility because it's not that important to people. What's important is the things we're going to talk about here. So why don't you guys introduce yourself to the
Diane Guidry from Killeen.
Charlie Gedry. Okay. Diane and Charlie. Gidry from Colleen. Okay, so are you guys nervous? Really? You don't need to be nervous. There's only 400 people looking at you right now. So the thing that I would do is let's say that we already went through a presentation and stuff, and I know Diane and Charlie are really sharp people. Charlie, you're in a school business, right? Administration, or what are you, a principal or assistant principal of an elementary, high school? Ninth grade. So, and Diane, you're a counselor in elementary. So these are really sharp people. Okay, these are people who have tons of credibility. It's obvious, right? They're respected in their community. They're doing well, it's fairly well financially already coming into the business. These are like this is the kind of couple that I would follow up till they tell me to go away. I mean, literally, these are people that I would follow up with until the cows come home. There's just no way I would let up, because I know that this couple, Diane and Charlie, if they decide to go ahead, they're going to be successful. It's not like I hope they will. They will. All I have to do is get them to make the decision to go ahead. That's all I've got to do. And so that's why you play golf, right? Well, good. So do I. I love to play golf. What, you have a handicap? What do you play to? Yeah, that's good. You're a putter. Have you heard of Dave Pells? Oh, Dave will help you with your putter. He helped me a lot. So you like to play golf? That's awesome. So have you played all the courses you want to play in your life? No? Is there a bunch of them still on the list? Like, have you played Pebble? Very good. And how about Spyglass? How about Cypress Point? I'm playing Cypress next month, or in July. Isn't that great, man? Hey, how about PGA West? You ever play out there? No? Well, it's a lot of things. So golf's big for you, right? So if you could get to the point where you could play golf anytime you wanted to, that would be something that you'd be worth investing the time in. Absolutely. Great. Super. And Diane, what do you like to do in your spare time? What's important to you? You like to water ski. Great. You have a boat? Fabulous. That's good. Do you do those tricks where you jump and twirl and all that stuff? Or are you a pretty safe and sane water skier? Safe and sane. Well, that's great. So you like to water ski. And kids, how many kids do you have? 2 kids. What are the ages? Wow. So they're pretty grown up. The 21-year-old in college or out of college? In college? Yeah. Senior? Junior. Fabulous. And the 16-year-old must be going to be a junior, huh? Going to be a senior next year. She's a junior, now going to be a senior. That's fabulous. So you're going to be empty nesters pretty quick here, huh? You're looking forward to that, Diane? Yes, she says yes. That's great. So you'd like to have a lot of extra money probably to travel and do stuff, right? To be able to do that. That's great. That's fantastic. And so how long have you lived in Killeen? Born and raised. So you've been here forever then. How about you, Diane? Both? So you came here after moving a long time. Well, that's great. So now I know a lot of things about them, right? This is the kind of stuff I'd ask because they're married, they've got kids, they both have great careers. They're going to be empty nesters. She likes to water ski, he likes to golf. I mean, I'm asking lots of questions because I want to know what they like and what they're, and I ask it in a curious way because I really want to know, because that's the stuff I need to know to help them go to where they want to go. So I'm going to ask lots of questions and get to know them a little bit. Well, let's assume that I did a presentation and I went through all this whole thing. And now, they know about PFS, they know how it works. And these are the things I would focus on. And we're sitting here, we've been visiting here for the last hour or so, and getting to know, I love your home, by the way. I just really enjoyed it. It's obvious you guys really, have some taste, and you care about, living in a little bit of style. That's really admirable, right? And that must be you, Diane. I guess he's pointing at you. Well, good for you. That's a beautiful home. And finding out that your, kind of career path you've taken, the kind of success you've had, there's no question. This might seem a little off base and a little out there, but people like you are exactly the kind of people that would do unbelievable in our business. And I don't know if you've ever thought about making a career in the financial service business, being educators and counselors and whatnot. But, has anybody ever approached you with that idea of getting into the financial service business? Let me ask a question. Are you currently reaching all your financial goals with the current income that you guys are earning at this point? Even close? Not really, right? So if there was a possibility for you to substantially increase your current income, you would at least be open to exploring that, wouldn't you? Great. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm setting them up, right? So because, I am, and I'm asking them a question. Are you reaching your goals? Or saying no? If they say no to that, then they're saying yes to me. In my opinion, they already said yes. All I have to do is show them why this is the way for them to go. See, this is not I'm going to recruit this couple. Hey, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that I'm going to recruit them. Okay. Because they can't get to where they want to go where they're at currently, and they're the right kind of people for this. I'm going to show them why they're the right kind of people. And, let me ask you, you're getting ready to be empty nesters, and your kids are going to, be on their own fairly soon and whatnot. And you guys want to do some stuff. You told me you like to travel and you want to do some more traveling. You want to be able to do some things that you're currently not capable of doing because of either the children or because of financial restraints. And what do you see in your future? What do you want to see happen in the next 10, 5, 10, 15 years or so? I mean, what kinds of things do you want to do, Diane? Have you guys talked about your dreams? You want to be financially independent? Yeah. What does that mean? I mean, how much does that, what kind of annual income do you need for you to feel like you're going to be financially independent? What would you like coming in comfortably? Dream a little bit. I want you to get out of the box and take off the restraints. What kind of number would you like to have coming in that would allow you to travel like the way you travel and do the things you want to travel? Would it be $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year? $100,000 would probably allow you to do that. And based on what you've been able to accumulate and save right now, that's not going to probably happen. Is that what you're saying to me? Not in the school business. Okay. So then if I could show you how to do that, then that's something that would be really important to you, right? You'd be willing to work a little bit towards that and fight for that. Am I right in assuming that? Okay, great. Fantastic. So I found out what they want. That's what I didn't leave it at financial independence. What's that? What's the number? Is it 100,000? Is it 200,000? Is it 50,000? I want to know more details on what that number is. Well, let me just tell you. Let me show you what a difference we make, because I think obviously you're in industries that really revolve around making a difference. I mean, if you wouldn't have gone into counseling if you didn't want to make a difference, right, Diane? I mean, that's important to you. Let's face it. You wouldn't have spent all that time. And the same thing, education. Education is about making a difference. I mean, that's the whole purpose for education, right? Charlie is making a difference, helping children learn and hopefully be productive and all that sort of thing. But it's getting more challenging every day, huh? I mean, especially in public. Are you in public education? In public education, it's challenging. There's a lot of unusual parents out there, aren't there? Yeah. Yes, I didn't say crazy. I said unusual, okay? How you say it's really important. Let me just show you what we do, because, see, this is the thing that got me so excited about our business, and I want to share with you our business and what it could, what it does for people, and I'll show you what it can do for you. But I think more importantly, you're the kind of people that if it's not good for people, you wouldn't be interested, would you? Okay, so let me show you how it's good. This client right here, before we got together with them, this is where their situation is. Their debt is outrageous, 36% of their income. Their net worth is $43,000. There's no possible way that they could retire on $43,000. You can see that, right? I mean, that's just they're so far away from retirement. It's ridiculous. That's what and their income is their total assets $72,000 and their monthly income is $1,800 a month. So what we did for this couple, they needed a retirement fund of 104. This got to be Texas. 147 grand to retire. Wow. $147,000 to retire. That's what so what we're able to do is figure out exactly what they need to do that. Another thing we're able to do, so it's just really exciting, is we're able to put together and show them exactly how to invest their money correctly. And then another thing we're able to do, I'm going to make stuff up here. And another thing we're able to do is show them a plan to get their children educated, because you know how important education is, and most parents never really are able to save enough money or have a plan to do that. And one of the reasons is debt. So we're able to help them get out of debt. We're able to help them. As a matter of fact, in their debt situation, we were able to save them right here $98,000 over their working lifetime, and just on an interest on the debt alone, and able to help them accumulate an additional $1 million at retirement in doing that. And then as far as their insurance protection was concerned, we took them from $100,000 worth of protection to $350,000 for roughly the same cost. So if they were to die prematurely, so we made you see the difference we made? I mean, could you see that if you sat down with a client and you took them from retiring with, say, $145,000, say $1 million, would that be a big difference or a little different? It'd be a giant difference, right? And if you took them and you saved them $98,000 in interest over their working lifetime, you think they'd be happy with you? And if you showed them how to make sure that their children got educated and actually had a plan to implement that, they'd be pumped up about that as well, right? And then if you showed them how, if they died prematurely, they could make sure their family was taken care of. Can you see we don't make a little difference here, we make a huge difference. And that if you sat down with the client and you showed them this information like this, and you'd help them this much, it would be virtually impossible for them to say no. Can you think of any rational person that if I sat down with and I showed them this and I had a plan for them and showed them that it was doable, can you think of them ever saying no, Charlie or Diane? Huh? Not possible, right? They're going to say yes. What, out of 10 people you sat down with, how many out of 10 would say yes to this, in your opinion, knowing this information, if it was that dramatic? 8, 9 out of 10, right? So the point I'm getting to is that if you sit down and you do this for somebody, you guys, it's virtually impossible to fail at this. See, I mean, because all we're doing is taking an education approach. We're taking some information. We're going back. We're showing them how to do this. And it's all written out. You don't have to memorize all this stuff. All you have to do is take the information properly. You come back with a beautifully bound financial independence program like this, and you sit down with them, you share it with them. And like you told me, 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to do it, right? So if 8 or 9 out of 10 are going to do it, there's no way for you to not make money, right? You're going to make money. You see that? Isn't that great? To go into a business that you know you can't fail at? Isn't that awesome? So you see, what I'm trying to do here, you guys, is I'm trying to get them to see that if they get involved, they can't fail. Because the reason that people don't go ahead is they think they're not going to be successful at it. So you've got to make a case for them there's no chance for them not to be successful. And then you talk about their background and that sort of thing. So you can see the difference you make is substantial, right? The other thing you're an athlete, obviously, right? You like playing golf, and did you play any other sports? Like play tennis? So did I. That's great. We have a lot in common. I didn't know that. That's fabulous. Yeah. What number did you play in college? So did I. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good news. Tennis, golf, we're obviously things going excellent. So obviously you're a competitive guy, right? And you want to be somebody. You never would have got to number one if you didn't have a desire to be somebody. And I bet you're a pretty good golfer. You're a single digit handicap probably. You shoot in the 70s, I bet, huh? Have you before? Okay, so you can't get there unless you want to be somebody. Did you ever, like when you were younger, I mean, when I dreamed about maybe playing, on the professional tennis tour, that was a dream of mine. I thought, man, maybe I could get good enough to play there, but obviously I wasn't, and I didn't have that happen. But I would have loved, wouldn't you have loved to have been playing in the finals of the U.S. Open and in front of 21,000 screaming, fleshy metal, crazy New York fans, and playing somebody great in the finals and going 5 sets and then pulling it out in a tiebreaker in the 5th set. I mean, can you imagine how you'd feel, Charlie? How that would have felt, people screaming and you're in the papers and everybody's interviewing you and all that kind of stuff, right? But it didn't ever happen for us, did it? But it would have been awesome if it would have, right? And Diane, you probably have something that, you're a water skier, right? Maybe you would have liked. Is there anything else you would have loved? Maybe a actress, a singer, or something like that, right? I mean, you find out what it is, but I mean, the fact is, all of us inside of us who want to be somebody, right? I mean, that's just normal. That's human nature. And I did too, but in other things, I wasn't able to do that. In PFS, one of the great things about PFS is that in our business, if you get really good at our business and you get really confident and you have success, you could be that kind of person. We have these events, where you go and you speak in front of people when you're successful. We have this annual convention that we're going to have it this year. We're going to have it at the Superdome in Atlanta, Georgia. I think it's called that, the Georgia Dome, and we'll probably have 60,000 people there. You imagine you go in there, you're a star, you're one of the best in the company. Have you come up and speak? Your pictures, you're up on those big old jumbo screens, and people are screaming, and they're all excited, and they're screaming your name, and that's what happens in PFS if you really succeed. You have a chance, Charlie and Diane, to make it and be somebody in our company like you could have been in sports. That's kind of passed us down, right? But you can still do that here. I'm telling you, you are capable of doing that. The kind of people you are, the kind of credibility you have, there's no question in my mind that you could be that kind of successful. I mean, would that be of interest to you to get to that point where you're so good at that people are screaming, you come on stage and get the awards and all that stuff? That you can do here still. And I know people like you with your kind of credibility and background there's no question you could do that. Another thing, and I think that's important, and obviously you've chosen to do something great with your life, but and you have done something great with your life. I mean, you've dedicated your life to education and to counseling, and you've had some impact on a lot of people, I'm sure, over the years. But wouldn't you like to do that on a grander scale, on a much bigger scale, where you impacted maybe hundreds or thousands of people, maybe tens of thousands of people, where you made the difference? See, the beauty of PFS, and I've been able to do this, and a lot of people have been able to do this, is got a lot of representatives now. We've got 7,500 representatives, and a lot of those are becoming successful. We have about 100 people this year. We're going to make over 100,000. We've got I don't know, it's approaching 100,000 clients now that are investing money, that are going to be successful. And we are making a difference in those people's lives. I mean, a big difference. I've got a guy named Rick. Mark Younger, who was a fellow express driver that was working 6 days a week, making $35,000 a year. That last year was paid $1,200,000. His whole life's changed, right? I mean, isn't that exciting to play a part like that in somebody's life like that? That's one of the things you can do here is you can really, really do something great with your life, where you can make an impact on a lot of people's lives. And imagine all those people that are struggling financially, that as they become clients and you help them get out of debt, like we showed you here, and you help them start saving and investing money, and they retire at retirement 20 and 25 years from now because you came and you sat with them, or one of your representatives that you trained came and sat with them. They started an investment program. They got rid of their debt, and they put themselves in a position where, they have enough money to retire comfortably with dignity and do the things they wanted to do. And they're much healthier because they're not stressed out over the money. And you made that difference. You either directly or indirectly can make that kind of difference. Is that something that would entice you and be important to you? A great Christian impact. It's exactly right. It's huge impact, where it's so much far reaching than you even know. I mean, you can impact people and affect people without even knowing it in our business. That's one of the awesome things. Does that sound like something that you guys would be interested in, making a difference like that? No, I know it's something you can do. I don't think it's something. See, I wouldn't tell you this stuff, and I usually don't go into this long of a dissertation with somebody unless I thought you had the ability to do all that I talked about. It wouldn't be fair. It'd be wrong to tell you could do that if I didn't really believe you could do it. There's no doubt in my mind, Diane and Charlie, that if you got in our business with your background, with your credibility, with a number of people that if you're the kind of people that if you call somebody up, I'm sure that you wouldn't have to talk them into seeing you. Say, hey, listen, I've got something that I think is really valuable. I want to share it with you. It's really made an impact on my life. I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 people that you called would say, hey, yeah, Charlie, Diane, why don't you come on over? Am I right in assuming that? You have a lot of people that respect you, right? All those people are struggling in some way or fashion financially. Either they have too much debt, they're not saving in the right place, they're underinsured, they don't have a plan. Every one of them need it. Even the ones that appear like they have it all together, they don't. They don't. And you could be the difference in that. And I know, see, the key in our business, there's 4 characteristics of the really successful people. All of them have this. And I believe you have this. Number 1, you have a lot of credibility. You have that. And that's the one thing that's not teachable. You can't teach somebody to be credible. They either are or they aren't. You agree with that? Right? You are that. Number 2, they have great work ethic. You obviously have great work ethic, or you wouldn't have arrived where you've already arrived. Am I correct in assuming that as well? Number 3, good people skills. Obviously, you could never be a counselor if you didn't have good people skills. And I doubt that you would have risen where you're at without decent people skills as well. Am I right? And competitive. You already told me you're competitive. I know you've got to be competitive because people that excel are generally competitive. So you've got 4 of the characteristics that virtually guarantee success. So if you would come on board with me and you allow me to teach you, I can guarantee that you're going to have success if you obviously follow certain things that I'm going to teach you to do. Can you think of any reason why you wouldn't at least give it a shot and get on board with me and let me help you do that? Great. Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Can't wait to start working with you. Okay. Yeah, why don't let's go. You're going to throw me some objections. Okay, I mean, those are the kinds of things. And you obviously, you're not going to do it exactly like me. You're going to do it like you do it and talk the way you talk. But you need to hit on those points because those are the points that are important to people, right? So you're going to throw some objections. What are some of the objections that wouldn't come up?
It sounds like sales.
Do you like sales? What don't you like about sales? You don't, in other words, you don't want to be pushy. But if you weren't pushy and it was good for the person, would you feel more comfortable with that? So if I could show you how to do it in a non-pushy way, where it was educational and helpful, and you let the client make the decision based on that it was good for them, you would feel okay with that. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, we can do that. No problem. How about you, Diane? You have any things that time? A lot of times the time, I don't have time. Anybody ever, I don't have time. I'm just too busy, right? They say, I just don't have time. Okay, I would say, well, let me ask you a question. What are your hours that you currently work?
Or about 8 to 5.
So from 5 to 10, what do you do?
Playing a softball league.
Playing a softball league, watch TV. Okay, so they're really, if you really, when somebody tells me they don't have time, Charlie and Diane, generally what they're saying to me is I don't believe there's going to be enough value or benefit in for me to invest the time. Is that kind of how you're feeling right now? Because if you knew you were going to make $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a month on a part-time basis, could you find the time? No, you could, huh? Okay. So really, it's just an issue of believing that you can do that. So if I can get to the point where you believe that, and I'll show you, obviously you're going to have to, you work with me a little bit and take me to see a few people, and I'll show you. But when I show you that, do you think you could fit it in your schedule and make time and squeeze some things out and to squeeze this in? I'll go with you. I'll show you how to do it. I'll do it for you, as a matter of fact. In the beginning, all I want you to do is sit there and smile and nod. I don't want you to say anything because you might screw it up, okay? I want you to just watch, okay? And that's all you got to do. And I'll show you. I'll prove to you that it works and it makes sense. And once I prove it to you, then you can make the decision to make a more substantial commitment. In the beginning, I just want you to make a small commitment to just give it a go and stick your toe in it, okay? Is that fair enough? And then once you see how it works and show you that it works, then you can, make a progressively bigger commitment. Does that work for you guys? Correct. Are you interested in multi-level? You are? Oh, great. What do you like about multi-level? Oh, well, we're going to love this then. It'll be great. I'm going to teach you how to build a whole army of people that do the work, and you can override that production. Is that something that's attractive to you? Or would you like to have 1,000 or 7,000 people? Okay, well, then we're going to have to work really hard in the beginning then, okay? I need a big commitment from you to do that. You said, what don't you like about multi-level? Okay, so that if it was multi-level, but it wasn't gimmicking a pyramid, and it made sense, and you can accomplish all the things that we talked about, your goals and dreams, and it was, respectable and professional, then you would probably feel more comfortable, right? Okay, so if I can show you that, then it in fact is all those things, then you would at least take a closer look and probably take an attempt at starting a business. Okay, great. Because you don't really care as long as it's professional and you feel good about it, right? That's the most important thing to you, isn't it? As long as it's honest and is moral and just and all that, and good for the people that you're serving. That's the most important thing, right? Okay, great. No problem. I can show you that. Then I would proceed to, do I have to talk to my friends? Do you have to talk? No, you don't have to talk to your friends, but you don't like talking to your friends?
Is there any other way?
Yeah, sure. You can go see strangers, but the fact is, if your friends have a debt issue, if your friends are underinsured, if your friends are not saving enough money and aren't saving in the right place, and you could help them solve all those financial issues, why would you deny your friend over a stranger? I'm not clear on that. It doesn't make any sense, does it? See, those are the first people you want to see because you're going to be offering them a solution that's really going to see the main issue about your friends. I want you to feel comfortable with. If you take me to see a friend, Charlie and Diane, I want to just assure you that I will never, never embarrass you. I'll never use your friendship as a means to close a piece of business or transaction. Because if I ever did that with you and I embarrassed you in any way or made your friends uncomfortable or caused a rift between you and your friends, is there any chance you would proceed and continue to do business with me or be involved with me? None, huh? So it's not my best interest to do that, is it? I would never do that. So I want you to feel comfortable. Take me to your best friends, your mother, your brother. I'm going to be, do you feel like I conducted myself in a professional manner this evening? I'm going to conduct myself in exactly the same way with them that I have with you. Okay. So you don't ever have to worry about or be anxious about taking me to see somebody, because it's not my best interest to do that. As a matter of fact, if I treat them great, you're going to take me to see a lot more people, aren't you? That's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay. Is there a cost to getting started? Yes, there is a cost to getting started. You've got to make an investment in your business. Just like if you, what was the cost to get started in your business that you're in now? Thousands, a college degree, 4 years, and probably 6 to 8 years of education after high school, right? And all that sort of thing. And you have your master's, am I correct? And you put a lot of time and energy, not only the cost of tuition, but the cost of the time, which is thousands of dollars. I'd say you probably in your lifetime invested at least 50,000 probably in education and all that, and when you include the time that you spent. So if you get a business and you could make 10 times what you're currently making right now for $200, would it make sense for you to invest that? No, one time. So cost is not an issue then, is it? Okay, great. My kids need me around. Okay, that's great. You should be around for your kids. I mean, I can understand if your kids need you around, you should be around for them. As a matter of fact, the beauty of our business is you can structure your appointments and how you do it around your family. And if your family, you have some sort of a situation like the child has a play or some sort of sporting event or something, you need to be there, then you just reschedule your business around that and make that the priority. I completely agree that your kids should come first and should be first. And that's the beauty of owning your own business, is you can do that. So if you need to spend time with your kids, you do that. And if you need to, when you do work, you work, And so that's not a problem. We'll work around your family completely. Work on your own schedule like that. It's super. It sounds good. He says a person calls and they say, or you're talking to them, they say, well, it sounds really good, but I just don't have the $200 to get involved right now. Is there any other way to do it? And yeah, there is another way to do it. One of the ways to do it is to get out in the field and go, you say, this is not my preference. The first thing I would say is I'd say, listen, Charlie, if your car broke down, you need your car to get to work and back. Okay. So if your car broke down and you needed $200 to get it repaired or you couldn't get to work, how would you find the money? How? Credit card. Okay. That's one way. You could do it that way then. You have a credit card, don't you? See, it's an issue. 199 is an issue of whether it's important enough to them. They can get $200 if they knew. You could just say, on there say, listen, if you knew that you had the winning numbers to a lottery and all you needed was $200 to get the money, where would you get the money? You buy it from your mom. There you go. Go call your mom then. Buy it from your mom. Whatever it is, that's what you do. You notice that I haven't been telling, I've been asking the whole time, always asking, never telling. See, a lot of the problems that you're having with getting people to do stuff is you're telling too much. And I very rarely tell anything. I'm always asking questions. Because when they say it, it's true. When I say it, it's suspect. Okay? So when you're saying it, you're just another salesperson selling them something. But when you ask a question and they answer it, they're doing it. They're not going to argue with themselves, right? Or doubt them. Well, they might doubt themselves, but anything else? Any other? Okay. Okay. You like to check the company? That's fabulous. What do you need to know about the company? That it's solid? That it's substantial? Okay. How substantial would it need to be? If it's a $1 billion company, is that substantial enough for you? It would be? Okay. So then if it's 700 billion, then it's not even, we don't even need to discuss it anymore, do we? So again, you just ask questions, right? If it's $1 billion, it's, if it's so great, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, there's a lot of reasons, okay? Because there's a lot of great things, Would you agree that being a Christian is great? Why isn't everybody a Christian? Because everybody doesn't know the story, right? That's why. It's truth, right?
Thank you for adding.
Yeah. They need time to think about it? That's fantastic. How much time do you need to think about it? Sleep on it? Fabulous. You can sleep on it. In the next 24 hours, what's going to change? You still don't have a plan to accomplish your dreams, right? You still don't have a vehicle to make that happen. You still want all those things to happen, right? So it's really, I can appreciate you need to think about it. I don't have any problem with that, but I just want to be clear that, you realize that nothing's going to change between now and tomorrow or now and next week or now and next year, except that you're going to be farther away from where you want to be because you don't have a vehicle to get there. Make That's fine. I have a part. Generally, when somebody doesn't make a decision on the spot, it's because they're afraid of making a wrong decision. Am I right in assuming that? So if you were absolutely convinced that you're making the correct decision, you wouldn't need to wait on it, would you? What would you need to feel? What would you need to know in order to feel like you're absolutely making the right decision? That you could do it. Okay. So let me ask you another question. If I can show you some people that come from similar backgrounds or actually lesser backgrounds than you that are having success, and I can introduce you to those people, and actually you can even talk to those people, would that help you make that decision? Super. All right. Fantastic. Well, let me show you. And I'd bring out the book that shows the pictures of the people, or I'd get them in contact with somebody, Golden Eagle book, or I'd have them, let me have you talk to Jerry Ward, let me have you talk to Greg Gunn, or let me have you, what I'm saying? I would, whatever it took, and I'd follow up with that. I wouldn't push them on the time thing. I like to think about that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but I want to get down to the nitty gritty. What's the real reason? Time is never the reason. That's always bogus. Okay. The real issue is something else. So you need to find out what it is. What is it? What would it have to be? What would it have to have? What would everything have to be like in order for you to say yes tonight? So they can tell me what the issue is, so I can find out what the real reason is they're not going ahead. Because it's never time. It's not true. It's always some fear, or I didn't answer a question, or they're not clear on something, or, it's something that's not there. And I want to find out what it is so I can deal with it. See, if I can, well, the business is like I showed you here. What you'll be doing is you'll be sitting down with families and you'll be taking all their personal financial information and find out where they're at in the area of debt, in the area of their investing, the area of insurance and all that stuff. And then what we're going to do, you'll be doing is you'll be putting together a plan like this one right here that'll help them accomplish all their goals and dreams when it comes to their financial life. And you'll change your life in the process of doing that. Would you feel good about doing that? Great. And then you'll make money also in addition to that. That's what you'd be doing. And then what you'll be doing is you'll be helping people get involved in business, teaching them how to do the same thing. And then you'll work towards getting financially independent, which you told me was really important to you, isn't it? Well, you know what? That's what I thought when I first got involved. Oh, there's so much information. How am I going to remember all that stuff? And you know what I found out is that when you do something over a period of time and you do it repetitively, you start remembering everything. Just like, the job you have right now. When you first started, did you feel a little overwhelmed with the job when you first started it, the job you have currently? Like, well, am I going to remember all this stuff? But what you did is you showed up to work every day, and every day you got a little more confident, a little more sure of yourself. You started knowing what to do. Stuff started to become second nature. And before you know it, now you go in there every day. You don't even think about it. You're on automatic pilot, right? Yeah. Well, that's how this is going to become. So the key is just getting started, right? Well, what makes us different is that we're going to disclose everything. What financial company's ever sat down with you and showed you everything that they're going to do for you and then told you exactly how much they make on every product? And they told you what they were going to make. And how am I going to remember all that stuff? And you know what I found out is that when you do something over a period of time and you do it repetitively, you start remembering everything. Just like, the job you have right now. When you first started, did you feel a little overwhelmed with the job when you first started it, the job you have currently? Like, oh, well, am I going to remember all this stuff? But what you did is you showed up to work every day, and every day you got a little more confident, a little more sure of yourself. You started knowing what to do. Stuff started to become second nature. And before you know it, now you go in there every day. You don't even think about it. You're on automatic pilot, right? Yeah. Well, that's how this is going to become. So the key is just getting started, right? Well, what makes us different is that we're going to disclose everything. What financial company's ever sat down with you and showed you everything that they're going to do for you, and then told you exactly how much they make on every product, and they told you what they were going to make? No, they told you what you wanted to hear. Now, if I recruit you and I don't do the right thing by you and I have you come in my business, how long is it going to take for you to find out whether I did the right thing or not? Huh? If I'm willing to open up my books and everything to you, does it make any sense for me to deceive you in any way, shape, or fashion? Absolutely not. It's be ludicrous, right? So you don't need to worry about that. Well, because it's just like anything else. You just start. You start. First thing we're going to do is we're going to implement the financial needs analysis. We're going to take your information. We're going to get you a plan going, and you're going to start on the plan. You're going to have a systematic plan. So when you talk to somebody, you can say, look, the reason I got involved in this company is that my finances were really not in the shape I would like them to be, and they helped me put it in shape and helped me on a path to getting free financially. And I'm so excited. I'm seeing progress already, and I wanted to share this with other people, and that's the reason I'm seeing you tonight. You're doing okay. Is that all you want to do is okay? Huh? You want to do better than okay? That's fine, but do you want to do better than okay? On what? Hmm. Yeah. Can you take off a month and never worry about it? So then would you like to do that? Be able to do that? It's going to take more money and more savings and that sort of thing, right? So that you're not doing as okay as you'd like to do. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. Oh, you- oh man, you're a man after my own heart. That's exactly how I felt. My God, I am so bad with numbers. My math skills are horrendous. That is why God invented calculators and computers, by the way. And because you don't have to know anything, one of the beauties, you just have to be able to take information on this input sheet here and then put it in you have somebody input it in the computer and it prints out all the numbers for you. So you don't have to even know the numbers anymore. Literally, you don't have to know the numbers. You just have to read numbers. Can you read numbers? Huh? Why don't you think you can talk to them about that? Because you don't feel confident right now about the information, right? But if I can get you to the point where you're confident about the information, which I can do that, I guarantee you that. Once you're confident and you know what you're talking about, then you would be more comfortable in talking about it, wouldn't you? Okay, so would you give yourself a chance to learn the material so that you could change your life? Would you do that? Okay, great. That's all I need you to do. If you try, we're going to get there. All right? Mm. No, you don't have to buy the products in our company, you mean? No, you don't. You don't have to buy the product. You don't have to do anything. But the fact is if you're doing all the things already and they're the same products, it's not a problem. But the fact is you're going to be training people and all that sort of thing. And if you are not a product, the product's going to be a little challenging for you. I just want to confess that to you. So I think once you get involved and you see, and if we can improve what you're currently doing, you'd want to make a change anyways, wouldn't you? If we can improve it, if we can't improve it, then obviously we're going to want you to stay with what you're currently doing because that's not in your best interest. But if we can, in fact, improve what you're currently doing, then at that point you would make a change. Is that correct? Huh? Great. Perfect. And what you do, don't fight with them. You just do that. Are we on time? You don't know anybody just moved in the area? Well, good luck. I mean, if I had somebody that just got into the area, I would probably wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't work hard to recruit that person because it'd be too much work, unless they had a large circle of influence in their employment or something like that. New people in the area is not great. Go ahead. You could never develop clients. What was wrong with your company? Well, we haven't had that issue. We have 2 million clients. So they must have been doing something inappropriate or weren't approaching it correctly. What do you think that might have been? Huh? Well, it could be. It obviously wasn't, or else they would have been having success. So why don't we compare the two? Okay. Why don't you show me what you were doing? And let me show you what I am doing, and then we'll see which one makes more sense. Is that fair? Okay, great. So he didn't get anywhere with it. The guy who was helping was a jerk. So what does that have to do with you? Well, maybe not. I mean, the fact is, if you had a guy that was a jerk and wasn't doing well, doing a good job of getting his people to be successful, what would you do with that person? You wouldn't work with them? Great. But if you found somebody in the same company that was getting results and that was doing all the right things and was helping people to be successful, you'd be more opt and more willing to work with somebody like that, wouldn't you? So if I could show you that I am that person and that we're having the success here and people are having the kind of results that you'd like to have, would you be open to exploring it further? Okay, great. Hmm. Why? Great people in Tyler. Great people in Tyler. And he's expanding his business, and he thought Tyler would be a great place to do it, and that's the reason he's coming from California. And he's got a contact here, and the person that they started. I mean, that's how all companies expand. For example, if you say let's take Starbucks coffee, right? Why are there any around here? Why would they come all the way from Seattle come do it here? Because people spend money on coffee here. That's why. You know, there's business here. That would be that to me. That would make the most sense. Just tell them that. How much would you like to make? Okay. So if I can show you how to make $100,000 a year, are you in? Well, what would you be willing to do? Whatever's reasonable. So if it's reasonable, I can show you a reasonable way to make $100,000 a year. Are you in? Okay, great. I'll show you how to do that. You can't stump me. I'm telling you right now. There's no way. A full-time student? How old is this person? How old is this person? Yeah, I wouldn't recruit that person. That's wrong market. Huh? Hey, hey, welcome, brother. You're listen. When I got in the business, I was in Amway. I did Amway for 2 years. Most money I ever made a month was $86. I did Herbalife. I made a little money at that, a couple $1,000s a month. I did a thing called Metafresh with a synthetic milk thing. I'd sold tape, the audio cassette programs that Tom Hopkins out of Massey Art is selling. I did like 4 or 5 different things. So when I came here, I had no credibility with my wife, let alone my friends. But you know what was so exciting is that the company makes so much sense and what they do is so incredible, and that you can actually make money at this. Matter of fact, statistically, let me give you some statistics that I think would be exciting to you. One is that the Direct Selling Marketers Organization, they just recently met, and John Ass was telling me that of all the direct marketing companies, like the top 3 are Excel, right, the phone company. The average Excel representative earns $200 a year. The average Amway representative earns $1,000 a year. The average PFS representative earns $9,000 a year. Of all of the direct marketing companies, there's 8 million people involved in some sort of direct marketing like this in the country. And there's literally thousands of companies that are doing direct marketing. And there's only 4,000 people that make over $100,000 a year in direct marketing right now out of 8 million. And we have 1,000 of the 4,000. And our company makes up only 1% of all of direct marketing, except we have 25% of the people making over $100,000 a year. And we have, of the average representative, it's 5 to 10 times what the average other direct marketing companies earn. We have by far the best direct marketing business in the world. I mean, it's the best, period. End of story. It's a fact. So they can say anything they want to say, but ours is the best. So, that's, I tell people that, and that's the facts. Well, I made, let's say that I made 50,000. In my second year, I made 35,000. Okay. Let's say, yeah, you can make 100,000 a year. I made $35,000 the last 12 months, and I'll probably make 100,000 this year. I'm on pace. Obviously, you don't make 100,000 your first year in the business. I'm in my second year right now. I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm making money. I'm making progress every year. I've grown. Last year I made 18,000. This year I made 35,000. So that's a 100% increase. I expect to really triple that this year. But at a worst case, I'll probably make 75,000 plus this year. I believe for sure by the following year, not this year, but the following year, I'll probably make 150, 200,000, somewhere in that range. And all I have to do is grow the business. Let me show you how I made that money. Let me show you how I'm going to make the 100,000. Let me show you this. I have this, and then I go into detail. I've got this many people in place. This is the kind of production they're doing. This is my overrides on that production. I plan on growing the number of people I have by this number, and by doing that, that'll automatically grow my income to 100,000. You have a plan. You should have a plan of how you're going to do it, and show them, regardless of where you're at. To make, you should know what it takes to make 100,000, what you have to do, how many people, and how much production, and then just show them this is what I'm in the process. The reason I'm talking to you is because I think you'd be great, and I know that if I got you involved, you would help me make my 100,000, and I would help you make your 100,000 by helping you develop a business, and we'll do it together. Is that cool? Great. Well, I mean, the truth is all of us have limited warm markets, but the way our business works, what's so great about our business is that what's your name again? Joe. Joe, you have a warm market of about 20 people, right? Let's say you have 20 people that you have some credibility with. You take me see those 20 people. We're going to do business with a minimum of 15 out of the 20, okay? Assuming they're in the right market. If we save those people a bunch of money in interest, reduce their debt, show them how to get financially independent, we put a plan together, how many of the 15, if we substantially improve the current situation, are going to give us referrals, do you think? All of them. 2 out of 15? Then you don't have any credibility with them. That's really if you're not getting referrals from everybody, either you're not doing a great job and you're not helping them, or you don't have any credibility with them. So if I'm sitting down, we're going to do, if I go in there and I've saved them a bunch of money on their insurance, and I show them how to get financially independent, and I reduce their debt, every one of them is going to give me referrals. Or the other issue is whoever's training you doesn't know how to get referrals. Okay, they're not doing a good job. So that's probably what the case is. And so you're going to get referrals. I'm going to get referrals out of 15 people. Now, I might not get 10 referrals out of everybody, but I'll probably get 3 to 5 referrals out of everybody. Okay. So if you take me, I'm going to get 3 to 5. Let's say I get 3. 3 times 15 is 45, right? So when we go see those people, we're going to get a minimum probably 45 plus referrals. If we go see those 45 referrals, we're not going to do business with as many people as the first time because they're referrals. So let's say we do business with 50%. People see. Plus, we're going to recruit some of those people. We're going to recruit 20 to 25% of those people. So we recruit 20% of 15. That's 3. 3 people are going to probably have a warm market of 20 people. So that's 3 times 20, right, is 60 plus all the other people. So the issue of when you run out of your warm market, if you do the business correctly, you really offer a lot of value and you help those people, they're going to give you referrals. You're never going to have a problem with seeing people. So if you run out of your warm market, it doesn't even matter. What'll end up happening if you start recruiting, you get good at that, you'll have so many people to see, you won't even have time to go see the referrals. That's what happened to me. I was too busy. I couldn't have time. I was field training too many people. I didn't have time to see him. So that's what's going to happen. Don't worry about that. That's the least of your worries. How do you get a point with a referral? Let's okay. Yes, absolutely. This is how I call a referral. If I get a referral from somebody, let's say Sherry Ward, I meet with them, they give me a referral, and it's for Charlie and Diane. Okay, so I call up Charlie. Let's say I call Charlie, and I call Charlie up, and I say, uh, "Hi, Charlie. This is Hector LaMarque. You don't know me, but I just recently sat down with good friends of yours, the Wards, Jerry and Sherry Ward. You know them, right? And I was able to help them pretty radically. We made a pretty substantial difference in their financial life. I showed them how to get out of debt, like 10 years sooner, and saved them about $50,000 in the area of interest on the debt that they currently had right now. And I showed them how to invest their money and get a substantially better rate of return. It looks like they're going to end up with maybe 500,000 more in retirement as a result of our association getting together. And I was able to give them 3 times the current insurance protection they have for roughly 2/3 of the cost that they were spending. So we made a really radical difference. They were so excited about what I was able to do for them that they asked me if I would call you and sit down with you and do the same thing for you. Um, of those 3 areas, debt or insurance or savings, which one of those things would be more important to you? Debt. So you have a little debt right now? So if I could show you how to eliminate your debt maybe 10 years or more sooner, can you think of any reason why we couldn't sit down together and discuss that, and let me show you and put together a plan for help you get out of debt? You already have somebody you're working with? How's it going? Not so good. So then if I could show you a better way than you're currently doing, then it would make sense to compare, wouldn't it? Okay, so when could we get together so we can do that? Oh, that's fine. Why don't you go talk to her? I'll hold on.
He's not here right now.
She's not there. When will she be home? About 8:15. So will you talk to her right when she gets in, or will you let her take a little break? Okay, so then I'll call you at 9 o'clock then, and I'm sure you won't have any problem getting her to agree to having me help you get out of debt sooner than you currently are, will you? Okay. If you do, then why don't you let me talk to her, all right? Okay? Great. Super. Then I'd call him back at 9 o'clock, and close that. Or that's one way, right? A lot of times, the key is that if you have a referral, the referral is only as good as the referrer. Okay? The credibility of the referrer dictates how easy it's going to be for you to get an appointment with the referral. I mean, it's got to be a good person, that if they, like the Wards, would have a lot of credibility with them, so it's probably not going to be much of a challenge because they trust them. But if they don't have a lot of credibility, it's going to be more difficult. Okay, so then you have to be more creative. What's that? Oh, okay. That's good. Recruiting. What I would do, this is how I do it. If I asked Jerry for referrals, I say, Jerry, this is how I would ask for referrals. Jerry, I'm looking for some people. I know you're not interested right now, but who are the 2 sharpest people that just are the kind of people that are motivated and they get things done, and just the right kind of people, that are good quality. Who are the 2 sharpest people? Let's say he gives me Charlie and Diane, right? So this is how I would do it. I'd call him. I say, "Hi, Charlie. This is Hector LaMarque. I was talking to Jerry Ward. I'm in the process of expanding my business. I have a financial service business here in the area in Killeen, and I'm really swamped. I'm looking for some people." And I asked Jerry. I said, "Jerry, who are the 2 sharpest people that if you were going to start a business that you would talk to?" And he mentioned you, Charlie, and Diane. Is that true? Yeah. Most of the time they'd laugh. They almost always laugh. Okay. They'd always laugh. They'd kind of chuckle. And I said, "Well, they said you're really sharp. You may or may not be interested." Honestly, at this point, it's not even relevant. I would really just like to get an opportunity to meet you. Anytime I get a chance to meet some sharp people, I like to take advantage of that. If I share it with you and there's interest and you want to go forward, that's fine. If you don't, maybe you know somebody that might be interested and you can point me in the right direction. I'm just some swamped. I need some help. My business is exploding right now, and I want to teach somebody how to. I'm really looking for one of 2 people. Somebody that wants to make a couple extra 2,000 or 3,000 a month on a part-time basis, or somebody that wants to make 100,000 or more on a full-time basis. Which one of those people would you be? Either one? Okay, great. So when can we get together? I've got Wednesday or Thursday open this week. I'd rather meet you during the day if possible. Is there any time during the day that we can get together? Over lunch? That'd be great. Right? When do you have a pretty flexible schedule? Can you take lunch whenever you like, pretty much? 11. That's perfect. Okay, great. Why don't we meet at the XYZ restaurant, blah, 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 and I'd set that up, right? Uh-huh. Okay. This is how I take, and I did this a lot, by the way. I would meet with one person, and then let's say I met with Charlie, but Diane's working and she couldn't be there. I would sit down with Charlie. I'd close Charlie. Okay. This is a recruiting appointment. I would never do an appointment, a sales transaction with one person, but a recruiting appointment, I'm just trying to meet people, right? So I do that. I get Charlie excited about the business. He's excited. He wants to go tell Diane about it. I said, Charlie, before you tell Diane everything, why don't you let me do this? Okay, you're excited. You're feeling right now like you want to go ahead, right? Okay. Why don't you let me explain everything? Because you're gonna, it's impossible to regurgitate all the things I shared with you in the last half an hour, and have it make sense to Diane on the first try. No one's capable of doing that. As sharp as you are, it just never seems to work out right. When can we sit down so I can show her what you would be doing or what you'd be doing together, and then you can get her approval or non-approval, whichever way we go that way. The other thing we can do is I can sit down with her, I can show you what kind of difference we can make for you guys, and then that she would even be more clear, you would be more clear about why this makes sense. Okay, so you can get all your stuff out there, like I said, and we can do an F&A for you, and then that way we can move forward and see if there's any real interest in making a decision to go ahead. Okay, we do that. Fantastic. And I'd set an appointment like that, and I'd do an F&A for them. That's what I would do for both of them, and show Diane what we're doing and all that, and get her to like me and trust me and all that stuff. That's what I would do on that. Okay. What's that? What is the question? What's the old A.L. Williams company? I know. No. What is the old A.L. Williams company? You looked at it 10 years ago, and what? What did you like about A.L. Williams? Why? Oh, okay. So then if it was a lot of other things besides insurance only, you'd probably have more interest at this point, wouldn't you? Great. You're going to love the new company. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. And what? Did you get an appointment? So I would have played to his compassion. And I said, it takes a lot of courage to get on the phone. But most important, if you're in the sales business, if you have a really fabulous product and a fabulous opportunity, it's in the best interest of the person you're talking to for you to meet with them. Wouldn't you agree? And I have that product and that service. If I could make a substantial difference in your current financial life, either being a client or even getting involved with us, and I mean to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, can you think of any logical reason you wouldn't sit down with me for at least 20 or 30 minutes to explore that opportunity? So when can we get together? Right. Mhm. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't try to recruit anybody like that. I would, I would get their name and number. When you meet somebody like on the fly like that in a restaurant, you're at the car wash or you're in a grocery store line or something like that. That's not where you want to go. Hey, I've got this great business opportunity. It'd be great. You don't want to do that. You want to ask a question like, you know, um, hey Charlie, do you live? Maybe we introduced her. My name's Hector LaMarque. He's Charlie. Charlie, do you live in the area? Yeah. How long have you lived here? 20 years you lived here. Wow, that's fantastic. I forgot, what did you say you did? You're you're a waiter. You're a waiter. And do you foresee being a waiter forever, or is this something temporary? Hope not. So, you'd be open to another opportunity if one presented itself, if the money was right, right? So you're open to that. Well, great. I tell you what, I don't have a lot of time to explain. I'm in the process right now. I'm in the business of developing an organization, a financial service organization, and you may or may not be interested. It's not even important, but I like to share the information with you. I know that you're really amiable and you had really good people skills. I noticed that, and I like to share that information with you. I don't really have time, and it's really not appropriate. You're working right now, and you owe that courtesy to your employer to do your job. So why don't you give me your name and number? I'll give you a call, and I'll see if there's a time convenient for both of us so we can get together and I can share something I think could be really, really exciting for you. Is that fair enough? Well, your home number would be better. I'd really rather not call you at work because, I don't want you to get in trouble at work. boom, and I write that down, boom, 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 something like that. Just be honest or ask them, are you, if there's a potential for you, Charlie, to make an additional $2,000 or $3,000 a month, or possibly even make a career change, if the money are right, would you be open to that opportunity? Fantastic. Why don't you give your name or number? I don't have time to really go into it right now because you're working, and then I'd go into that. And see, if I would just ask that question, because if they say no, then don't go to the next person. Don't even bother with them. If you propose making $2,000 or $3,000 extra a month, or make a career change, or making $100,000 a year, and there's no interest, that is not a person you want to really spend a lot of time with, because you're cold already anyways. They don't know you. They don't trust you. They don't know anything. So there's got to be some interest there, okay? If there's interest, then you have a base for going ahead. If there's no interest, say, great, thank you very much, see you later. And don't take it personal. Just go to the next person, okay? But you should do it everywhere you go. You'll be surprised. You contact 10 people, how many do you think you'll get a positive response from? 3. Yeah, maybe more, but plan on 3, because 70% are risk averse, okay? They are. Let's pray. That's what I do. He asked, what did I wear? This is how I dressed on appointments, just like I'm dressed right now. I wear socks, though. Yeah. But really, I think you should wear a pair of slacks, golf shirt, collared shirt. If it's wintertime, obviously maybe a long sleeve shirt, and maybe a sports coat I never wore a tie. People don't wear ties in their house. Never wore a tie. Only time I wore ties were op meetings, fast art schools. I'd wear a tie, but other than that, just clean, sharp, Worse what? Appointments? Oh yeah, I had one that was pretty strange. I got a couple, but I kind of forget. One, I went in there, and the guy was like, this one guy, he was just like, I'm not interested in anything. I don't want to talk to you. I'm happy with what I've got right now. I already made a change just recently, and I don't want to make another change. I mean, I came in and it started like that, just like that. And I just went, okay, great. I said, "Look, can I ask you a question? Did you have a problem or something before? I mean, I just nothing personal. I just, because you seem almost a little bit agitated, and I don't want to make you feel that way. I mean, that's the last thing I want to do, and I don't want to press you to do something you're not interested in doing. But it sounds like you might have had an issue or a challenge with a company before. Did that happen to you before?" He said, yeah. I had this company. The company went out of business, and I just made another change, and I don't want to have that change again. I said, oh gosh, I understand how you feel. So are you glad you made the change? He said, yeah, I'm glad I made the change. The other company went out of business. I said, so if you could make another change that would be even more beneficial than the last one you made, can you explain to me why you wouldn't at least explore that opportunity? And he said, well, I mean, what do you mean? I said, well, I mean, if I could substantially improve what you're currently doing right now, I mean, can you think of a reason why you wouldn't at least explore that and just take a look at it? I don't mean make a change. I mean, just look at it right now, just explore it. He said, well, can you think you can do something for me? I said, I don't know, but if you let me take a look at what you're doing, I'll tell you right now. I can tell you in probably 2 or 3 minutes. Why don't you get out what you have currently? Let me take a look at it for you. He said, okay. He goes and gets it. He has a cash value policy, right? Because he had a cash value from a company that went defunct, and he got a new cash value policy. And I look at his policy, and I said, man, are you lucky you gave me this thing? Let me show you how this thing works. And then I just opened it up, and I showed him how the cash value policy worked and what he was into. And I said, man, one of the luckiest things ever happened is I came over tonight, because you would have gone in this, and you would have not ever made a change, and you wouldn't have known how this thing worked, and you would have lost another 20, 30, 40, 50 grand over the next 20 years. I mean, this is not what you want to do. Let me explain why you need to make a change. And I went over the buy term and invested numbers and blah, blah, blah. And, I was there about 2 hours. I walked out with a check and a new policy and everything, right? And it started off like he was attacking me, man, when I get in there, right? And it always comes back to asking questions. There's always something there, okay? That's not a normal response. There's something wrong there. So you need to ask, what the issue is. Right. I could totally appreciate that. So you're afraid of getting kind of taken advantage of again, and your husband wouldn't even. Okay. I tell you what are you currently doing right now? You have something that you're currently you're doing right now in terms of your saving and investment and insurance and all those things right now? Are you doing anything at all? Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you let me take a look at that before I even come over and waste any of your time? I don't want to waste any of your time, and I know your husband's a little averse to that. Why don't you let me pop by? It'll take me 5 minutes. Let me pick up what you're currently doing. This is what I need you to put aside for me. Then let me input that information. Let me see what I can do. I'll do it at my office. I won't even waste any of your time doing that. And then if I'm completely certain that I can radically improve your current situation, then and only then will I come back and ask to set up an appointment with you after I already have the facts in front of me. Does that sound fair enough so I don't waste any of your time? Would you be open to that? Okay. Well, this is what I need. Why don't you get all your debt, da 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 da, da, and I have them get all that, and I pop by, pick the stuff up, I do the F&A at my office, and then I call you back up and I say, listen, man, you can't believe what I was able to do for you. You know how the way that you're going right now, you're going to be in debt to the year 2023 with this new debt, elimination service we have. You're going to be out of debt in the year 2006. So I'm going to end up saving you about $68,000 in interest. And you know what? Your retirement, your FIN number, what you really need to do is you're on pace right now, what you're currently doing. You're probably going to have about $400,000 retirement. If we make a few minor adjustments, I think we could help you end up with about a couple $1 million of retirement, which is about $1,600,000 difference. And I know you wanted to educate your kids. I think we're going to have a way for you to do that. Definitely. So, when can we get together? Oh, really? So you think that's his hot button? That if we could show him how to get out of debt, get out of debt. I have a plan. I guarantee you. I absolutely will help you get out of debt. No problem with that for sure. Okay. So why don't you tell him that that's the thing we're going to focus on when we come over? I'm going to show you how to get out of debt, and we'll do all the other things as well. But we'll focus on the debt issue. Okay. And tell him that it's already planned. I've got all the numbers. We're going to cut right to the chase. I won't waste any of his time. And if I can't show you tremendous value within 15 or 20 minutes, I will leave your home. Okay? I give you my word on that. Is that fair enough? Let him know that, would you? Okay? I will not waste your time. I guarantee you that. If I waste your time, I will pay you $20 for the time wasted. Okay? Is that fair? Great. I'm in. I understand that. Do you like the fact that he works till 7 o'clock? Would you like to have him around even more than he is right now? Would you like to have him around even more than he is right now? If I could show you how you could get there, I mean, you might have to sacrifice for a short time, a few months or whatever, and make some sacrifices. But would you be willing to sacrifice, say, 6 or 8 months so that you could have a lifetime of being together more often than you currently are? Would you be open to that? Hmm. Well, I mean, how much is 6 or 8 months in relation to the rest of your life? It's a small investment, wouldn't you agree? Well, what would it take for you to say yes? Well, I mean, currently, I mean, like right now, are you the way you're going right now? Are you going to be able to send the kids to the college of their choice right now, financially? Oh, so then if you could increase your income substantially, where you could be more comfortable, are you living in the home that you really want to raise your kids in? So you'd be open to that as well? I mean, if I could show you how you can make more income so you can live in a better house and maybe educate your kids, and are you able to contribute to your church to the extent you'd like to right now? Really? So I'm not really clear. If I can show you how you can substantially improve your income and improve your standard of living, you're telling me you wouldn't want to sacrifice just a short time in order to do that? You wouldn't be open to that? So you really the issue is yeah, real value. Of course. I mean, there's anything worth value is going to take some time invested and some sacrifice. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not going to do that. But I just want you to know if I can show you and you can feel comfortable that time you invest is going to be worthwhile. I mean, Is there any reason why you wouldn't at least be open to that? Well, yeah, okay, great. All right. Well, let's do that. Before you make a full commitment, let me show you everything. I'll answer all your questions, and then after we get done, if you don't feel comfortable, no problem, no pressure. But if it makes sense and you can see some real value, you can see that you could possibly accomplish the things you want to accomplish in your life, then maybe at that point you'd be more open to allowing Jerry to make a commitment to help change your life. Does that sound good? So when can we get together? I've got this Wednesday or Thursday open. Which one of those days would be more Wednesday? Great. Well, he gets home at 7. Why don't I pop by around 8 o'clock? Okay. Sit down with her. Well, see, if I sit down with you and I take the information, the key to having them go ahead is that when you take the information, you must get a very firm commitment. See, when you do the F&A initially, that's the key. If you're not getting well, if I go do an F&A, I'm assuming you're doing F&As right here, okay? If I go do an F&A and the husband and the wife are there and I don't get a firm commitment from both parties, I'm not coming back. Just like that. I'd say, listen, if this is how I do it, I'd say, listen, Charlie and Diane, I'm going to put together this F&A and it's going to come out probably similar to this one. We're going to be able to make a huge difference in every area, the debt area, your investment area, insurance area, every area of your financial life. If and when in fact I come back and we put together a plan that's able to accomplish all the things that we talked about, being able to allow you to travel and to do the things that you said were important, can you think of any reason why you wouldn't implement this plan when we get back? Any of the solutions that I come up with? No. Okay, great. You feel comfortable with that? If they obviously have to be good for you, and you're going to have to feel comfortable with, and you're going to make the decision. But if in fact it does what I say it's going to do, I'm assuming we're going to go ahead and do that. Can you think that night? Can you think of any reason not to? If it does what I tell you it's going to do, and I can show you, obviously in color in this case, it's going to do that. Okay. Especially in color. Fabulous. Okay. Now, and if he says, "Well, I'm not sure. I want to, I'm going to want to look at it. I'll tell you when I get here." I say, "I understand that. Not a problem. But let me tell you something, Charlie and Diane. I'm going to invest 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 hours in putting together a plan for you of my life. I'm going to invest in you. And if I'm going to make that investment, all I'm asking is that if it does what I say it's going to do, that you're going to go ahead, because it doesn't make a lot of sense from my standpoint to invest that time if you're not in fact going to take the advice that's going to help you." Does that sound fair? You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not committed to helping yourselves and making the changes to improve your financial life, it doesn't make sense for me to spend the time to do that. And I don't want to waste your time, and obviously I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want it to be anything personal. But the fact is, if I'm going to do this, in order for it to work, in order to have a relationship, if I put together the information that makes sense and it does what I say it's going to do, all I want from you is a commitment you're actually going to implement the plan. Absolutely. You can show it to anybody you want. I don't care who you show it to. You're going to own it. It's going to be yours when you become a client. Okay? Right. So, mhm. And why aren't they ready? Well, there's something wrong. There's something that's stopping them. That their fear is usually what some kind of fear. So then you need to start asking questions. Listen, the night we came over, you were real clear. You told me, and I'm just assuming you're a person of your word. You said that if I could put together a plan that does all the things I said to do, you told me you would do that, and now you've changed your mind. What is preventing you from going ahead when in fact you know clearly in color, in black and white, that it's going to do what I said it's going to do? What is the real reason that you're feeling uncomfortable about making the commitment to go ahead and change your financial life? Can you tell me? Because obviously I made a mistake somewhere and I did something that wasn't clear or something, and I don't want to do that. I feel badly right now that you're not going ahead. Could you tell me what it is so that I don't make that same mistake again? See, in other words, I'm digging for what it is because it's something, right? There's something happened. They talked to somebody. I don't know what it is, but if you don't find out what it is, you can't close them. You can't. So you got to do that. That's what you need to do. Ask them. Oh, I have no problem with that whatsoever. But when I come back and you study it and it does everything I say it's going to do and it's clear and you feel confident it's going to do that, and all I want at that point is a commit that you're actually going to do implement. What would you? Sure, absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll share it with you, okay? But if in fact if it does all the things that I say it's going to do, um, and I can show you and I can answer all your questions that night, I'm not really sure why you would want to wait on that. Uh-huh. Well, I understand that. Even if it takes a couple days, I don't care if it takes a week. It doesn't really matter to me. The time's not an issue, and I'm going to give you the time. I want you to feel comfortable. I'm not going to pressure you. I'm not going to pressure you. But if it does everything that I say it's going to do, and it actually, we can put you in the place you want to be financially in the time frame that you want to do it. All I want from you is a commitment after you've had time to analyze it that you're going to go ahead at that point. Can I? No, 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 no. I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to share the information with you. And if you need a couple days, not a problem. Okay, I'll give you that. But if in fact it does all the things I say it's going to do, I just want your commitment because if I go and I go through all the rigmarole and invest the time in that, and then you just blow me off, there's no point in us doing that. If you have no real intent on moving ahead and improving your financial life, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't. Absolutely, your time's real valuable, and as is mine, and I don't want to waste mine, as I don't want to waste yours. Is that fair enough? Fabulous. Okay, great. And then you go back. We're done. Thanks, guys.